Donald Trump, the story of an American icon. Part 1. Introduction and Learning Strategy. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back to English Parchment. This is the place where stories come to life and your English improves with every sentence. Before we begin the fascinating journey into the life of one of the most famous men on the planet, I have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy our stories, please like this video and subscribe to English Parchment. Your support helps us create more content for your learning journey. Today, we are continuing our special series of biographies. To get the most out of this video, we are using our signature English Parchment listening method. 1. Visual connection. Watch the text on the screen as you listen to the voice. This helps your brain connect spelling with pronunciation. 2. Vocabulary in context. We have chosen words that are perfect for a B1 level. If you hear a word like negotiation or empire, try to understand it through the story before looking it up. 3. The 20-minute challenge. This is a long video. Try to listen to at least 5 minutes without stopping. This builds your language stamina. Now let's talk about Donald Trump. Most people know him as the 45th President of the United States. Others know him from his famous catchphrase, "You're fired." But did you know that long before the White House or reality TV, he was a young man from Queens who was sent to military school because he was too energetic? How did a builder of skyscrapers become a global brand and eventually the leader of the free world? Today, we are looking at the man behind the gold buildings. Stay with us until the end to find out how he survived financial ruin to make one of the greatest comebacks in history. Part 2. The early years in Queens. The story of Donald Trump begins on June 14, 1946, in Queens, New York. He was the fourth of 5 children born to Fred and Mary Trump. His father, Fred Trump, was a very successful real estate developer. Fred didn't build skyscrapers in Manhattan. He built houses and apartments for middle-class families in the outer boroughs of New York City. Donald was an active and sometimes difficult child. He had a lot of energy and a strong personality. Because he was often getting into trouble at school, his parents decided to send him to the New York Military Academy when he was 13 years old. This was a turning point for him. In military school, he learned discipline, competition, and the importance of winning. He became a star athlete and a student leader. After high school, Donald attended Fordham University and later the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Finance. Why Wharton? Because at that time, it was one of the only places in America with a dedicated real estate department. Donald didn't just want to be a businessman, he wanted to be the biggest businessman in the world. During his summer breaks, he worked for his father's company. He learned the business from the ground up, collecting rent, talking to contractors, and understanding how to save money on construction. But Donald had a vision that was different from his father's. While Fred Trump was happy building in Queens and Brooklyn, Donald was constantly looking across the river at the tall buildings of Manhattan. He knew that if he wanted to be a legend, he had to build in the heart of the city. Part 3. Conquering Manhattan. In the early 1970s, New York City was in trouble. The city was dirty, crime was high, and the economy was failing. Many people were leaving the city. Most businessmen were afraid to invest. But Donald Trump saw an opportunity where others saw a disaster. His first big project was the Commodore Hotel near Grand Central Station. The hotel was old and ugly. Donald made a deal with the Hyatt hotel chain to rebuild it. He covered the building in shiny glass and transformed it into the Grand Hyatt. It was a massive success. Suddenly, everyone in New York was talking about this young, confident developer who believed in the city's future. But his most famous achievement came in 1983. Trump Tower. Located on Fifth Avenue, this 58-story skyscraper was unlike anything else. It had a 6-story atrium, a waterfall, and plenty of gold and marble. It became a symbol of the 1980s, a time of luxury and big dreams. Donald realized something very important during this time. The name is the brand. He started putting his name in big, bold letters on everything he built. Trump Tower, Trump Plaza, Trump Park. He wasn't just selling apartments, he was selling a lifestyle of success and wealth. In 1987, he shared his secrets in a book called The Art of the Deal. The book became a massive bestseller and made him a household name across America. People began to see Donald Trump as the personification of the American dream. Part 4. The Crisis and the Comeback. However, life is not always a series of victories. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, the US economy slowed down. Donald had borrowed billions of dollars from banks to build casinos in Atlantic City, New Jersey. His biggest project was the Taj Mahal Casino, which he called the 8th wonder of the world. But the casinos were not making enough money to pay back the massive loans. By 1990, Donald Trump was in deep financial trouble. He owed nearly $900 million in personal debt and several billion in business debt. The media, which had once praised him, now predicted his professional death. They said the Donald was finished. But this is where the story gets interesting. Instead of giving up, Trump negotiated with the banks. He convinced them that he was worth more alive than dead. If he went bankrupt, the banks would lose everything. If they gave him more time, he could save the business. Slowly, he started to sell some of his assets, his private yacht, his airline, and parts of his hotels. By the mid-90s, the economy improved, and his real estate values went up again. He didn't just survive, he came back stronger. This period of his life taught him a lesson he would use later in politics. Never admit defeat, always keep fighting, and always keep your brand in the spotlight. Part 5. The King of Reality TV. By the early 2000s, Trump was a successful developer again, but he wanted more. He wanted to be a star. In 2004, he teamed up with producer Mark Burnett to create a reality TV show called The Apprentice. The premise was simple. A group of young professionals competed for a job in the Trump Organization. In every episode, they had to complete a business task. At the end of the show, they went into the boardroom where Trump would evaluate them. The loser was sent home with the words, "You're fired." The show was an incredible hit. For 14 seasons, millions of people watched Donald Trump sit in a high-backed chair and make big decisions. This was genius marketing. A whole new generation of Americans who didn't care about New York real estate now saw him as the ultimate boss, a man who was tough, smart, and incredibly wealthy. The Apprentice didn't just make him more famous, it made him a cultural icon. It also gave him a platform to speak about his opinions on the economy and the country. He started appearing on news shows more often, criticizing the government and talking about how he would run the country like a business. The seeds for his political career were being planted. Part 6. The Path to the Presidency. In June 2015, Donald Trump did something that many people thought was a joke. He rode down a golden escalator in Trump Tower and announced that he was running for President of the United States. The political experts laughed. They said a reality TV star could never win a primary, let alone a general election. But they were wrong. Trump didn't run a traditional campaign. He didn't use many TV ads. Instead, he used Twitter, now X, and held massive rallies. He spoke to people in the heartland of America, people who felt that the politicians in Washington had forgotten them. His slogan was, "Make America Great Again." He promised to bring back jobs, build a wall on the southern border, and put America first. His style was aggressive and unfiltered. He gave his opponents nicknames and ignored the traditional rules of politics. In November 2016, in one of the biggest upsets in history, Donald Trump defeated Hillary Clinton to become the 45th president. The world was shocked. A man who had never served in the military or the government was now in charge of the most powerful nation on earth. Part 7. The First Presidency, 2017 to 2021. As the 45th president, Donald Trump changed the way people looked at the White House. From his first day in 2017, he worked to fulfill the promises he made during his campaign. On the economic front, he signed a major tax cut and worked to reduce government regulations. He believed that by making it easier for businesses to operate, the economy would grow. Indeed, before the global pandemic of 2020, the United States saw record low unemployment rates. In foreign policy, he followed his America First strategy. He was the first sitting US president to step into North Korean territory to meet with leader Kim Jong-un, trying to solve old conflicts with personal diplomacy. He also moved the US Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem and helped broker the Abraham Accords, creating new peace agreements in the Middle East. However, his first term was also a time of great debate. He was impeached twice by the House of Representatives, but acquitted by the Senate both times. His style was very different from presidents before him. He used social media every day to talk directly to the people, bypassing traditional news channels. By the time the 2020 election arrived, the country was deeply divided. After a long and controversial election process, Joe Biden was declared the winner. Trump left the White House in January 2021, but as we now know, he was not finished with politics. Part 8. The Road Back to the White House, 2021 to 2024. After leaving Washington, Donald Trump moved to his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida. Many people thought his political career was over, but they were wrong. He remained the most influential leader in the Republican Party. For 4 years, he continued to hold massive rallies across the country, keeping his mega movement alive and well. This period was perhaps the most difficult of his life. He faced numerous legal challenges and became the first former president to be charged with crimes in court. However, Trump used these challenges to his advantage. He told his supporters that these legal battles were a witch hunt designed to stop him from running for office again. Instead of hurting his popularity, his supporters became even more loyal. In 2024, the presidential campaign was like nothing America had ever seen. Trump dominated the Republican primaries and, once again, faced the world stage. His message was focused on the economy, border security, and what he called ending the era of globalism. After a dramatic and intense election season, Donald Trump achieved what many thought was impossible. He won a second, non-consecutive term as the 47th President of the United States. This made him only the second person in American history, after Grover Cleveland, to leave the White House and return to it 4 years later. Part 9. The Second Presidency and the World in 2025. Donald Trump's second term, which began on January 20th, 2025, started with a whirlwind of activity. He promised a transformation like no one has ever seen, and he wasted no time. One of his first actions was creating the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, to cut government spending and reduce the number of federal workers. He also signed over 200 executive orders in his first year, focusing on energy production and national security. On the borders, he took immediate and strong action. He invoked the Alien Enemies Act to begin mass deportations and signed the Larkin-Riley Act to increase the detention of illegal immigrants. He also announced a new strategy for trade, imposing a 10% tariff on all imports and even higher tariffs on countries like China, Canada, and Mexico. He told the world that the rules-based liberal trade policy was over. Now, every deal would be made to benefit American workers first. In international affairs, the second Trump administration has been even more active than the first. He withdrew the United States from the World Health Organization and the Paris Agreement once again. He also made headlines by suggesting that the US might acquire Greenland from Denmark, and even expressed interest in changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. While these ideas were controversial, they showed that his unbound style of leadership was back in full force. Part 10. Current Events and 2026. Operation Epic Fury. As we stand here today, on March 2nd, 2026, the world is watching the White House very closely. Just yesterday, on March 1st, President Trump announced the launch of Operation Epic Fury. This is a massive military operation against the Iranian regime. Following reports of Iranian interference and nuclear threats, the United States and Israel launched a series of powerful strikes. The news is moving very fast. Reports suggest that the entire military command of Iran has been affected, and there are claims that the supreme leader of Iran was targeted in these strikes. President Trump stated that this action was necessary to ensure that Iran could never develop a nuclear weapon. He called it a moment of peace through strength. At the same time, the administration is preparing for a massive celebration this summer, the 250th anniversary of the United States on July 4th, 2026. Despite these major military and economic shifts, the war in Ukraine continues to be a central issue. While Trump has promised to end the conflict through negotiation, the fighting remains intense. He recently met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the Oval Office to discuss a shared investment fund for rare earth minerals, showing that his approach to diplomacy is always tied to business and economic security. Part 11. Conclusion and the Future. Donald Trump's biography is a story that is still being written every single day. He has moved from the world of real estate to reality TV and then to the highest office in the world, not once, but twice. His life is a lesson in resilience, the power of a personal brand, and the ability to ignore the traditional rules of society. Whether you agree with his policies or not, there is no denying that Donald Trump has reshaped the 21st century. He has challenged the American political system, changed how the world trades, and redirected the path of global history. As we look forward to the rest of 2026 and the 251st birthday of America, one thing is certain: Donald Trump will remain at the center of the conversation. Thank you so much for watching this long and detailed biography here on English Parchment. We hope this story helped you practice your English and understand the complex events happening in our world today. Learning English through history and current events is the best way to become a confident speaker. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to English Parchment to support our channel. It means the world to us. What is your opinion on the events of 2026 so far? Write your thoughts in the comments in English. It's a great way to practice what you've learned today. We read every comment. Thank you for being part of the English Parchment community. Stay curious, keep reading, and we will see you in the next video with another incredible story. Goodbye.